Cousins, what's up? What's up? Cousins, if you sing, if you play an instrument, if you are on the praise and worship team, if you sing at a club, if you play the drums at a club, you need to be on this live. We are going to discuss money and how to get you more money, okay? If you sing, if you play, any of that, you need to be on this live tonight. What's up? What's up, DW Base? What is up? Cousins, you got get on this live. Get on this live. Come on, wherever you're coming from. Come on before we start. You need to be on this live. If you sing, if you play, if you preach, if you prophesy, you need to be on. What's up, DeMarcus? You guys need to be on. Come on. Come on before we get started. You guys can't you can't request to go live with me tonight because I'm going live with somebody else, and a lot of requests are coming in to go live. Anyway, what's up, Lawyer T? Wait, hold on.
What's going on, man?
Let me give you a good introduction. Cousins, saints, and friends. This is a lawyer who handles all of my business. He's super legit. Well, forget about me. He handles business for some of your favorite people, some of the favorite people that you follow and that you know in this entertainment industry, and he is phenomenal at what he does. And here's the thing about it. He's saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and he's a musician. So he understands church, he understands how we operate, and he understands business. And that is one of the best people to have working with you and your what's up, Kenny Matthews? Working with it's frozen. It's frozen. It's frozen. Okay, he's gonna come back. Kenny Matthews, what's up? But anyway, tell everybody, get on tonight. He is a legit lawyer. He handles a lot of business for a lot of your favorite people, and he can get you paid. So if you're a musician, if you're a drummer, if you're a singer, this is a conversation that needs to be had, and he is going to help us. It was frozen. Okay, let me request him again. Okay, so this is the thing. You might have to turn your Wi-Fi off.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Okay. We pay all this money for Wi-Fi, and then you have to turn it off. What's up, Catherine?
Got you.
Then they tell us to turn it off. Okay, so we're going to get started. What's up, Kyrie? Okay, I'm not going to be able to say hi to anybody else that come on. So the house has been addressed. I love you all so much. And he's frozen again. Kenny, Kenny, you don't want me to talk about this. No, Kenny, this is legit. We're talking about the legal way. Kenny is saying that because he and I are always he tells me that I treat musicians like trash when it comes to pay. I just require a lot if I'm paying you. What's up, Claude? What's up, Evander? What's up, Nicole? What's up, Rashawn? So, all right, let's get into this conversation. So, Cousins, get out your paper. Am I frozen? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you were.
Okay. Someone just tried to call me. They never fails. They don't call me until I go live. Okay. So, all right. Let's get to it. First of all, I want to begin this live by saying musicians. First, I want to start this live by saying musicians deserve to get paid. There is biblical reference that tells us that you can get paid for what you do in church. There's a scripture that I quote all the time that says, treadeth not, or muzzle not the ox that treadeth out the corn. A laborer is worthy of its reward. So if you labor, you are worthy of your reward, okay? There are scriptures that talks about Levites getting paid. Now, a lot of times you all like to argue and say, well, the Levites then are not doing, they do more than what they do now. What's up, Dominique? So you all like to challenge that scripture and say, well, the Levites don't clean up the church, the Levites don't do this, and the Levites don't do that, da 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 da. We're in a different time. So Levites deserve to be paid. Now, the next thing I want to say, Kenny Matthews, is that if you're going to get paid, we don't want to just give you money. You have to be on time. You have to learn the music, all of that stuff that I'm not going to go into tonight because this isn't a workshop. But if you're going to get paid, there's certain criteria that you need to follow. Now, I also want to say this before we move on with Lawyer T. If you are paying, and I know Lawyer T is going to talk about having contracts, but if you are paying, one mistake that Minister of Music and pastors and stuff, a big mistake that we make is that we don't let musicians know up front everything that we expect. And then we get upset. So there needs to be a conversation and a contract. Okay, if service go past 10 p.m. and I was only supposed to be here until 9, do I get paid more or can I leave? That needs to be discussed. Are rehearsals included in the pay? What happens if the musician is late? What happens if the musician had to stay over? All of that needs to be discussed, everything up front. Nothing should be left out, okay? A lot of times we do things and things aren't made clear and the lines are very blurry because we're just happy to have a musician. So then when these things come up, it creates a debacle. It creates a big mess. It creates confusion. So contracts are very important. I don't play anymore because y'all be having hidden expectations. Y'all ignore Kenny Matthews. First of all, Kenny just opened up a big old studio in Virginia. What's up, Yolanda? So anyway, we're not even gonna go follow him, B. Kenny Matthews. So, Lawyer T, how important are contracts with singers? And I want to say singers as well, because now we got it to where the praise teams get paid. Right. So how important are contracts?
You know, that's a question that I get asked very often, especially from a ministry perspective. And I respond to a minister or a religious organization the same way I would respond to any other business. It's very important. And it's very important because you're requesting a service. If you're requesting a service, these individuals are vendors. If we look at it from a purely business aspect. And I think it's super important that we realize too, we're talking about church, but the church from a legal entity perspective is typically a nonprofit corporation. It's a corporation for a reason because it has to operate in accordance with governing bylaws and the corporate structure. So that's number one. Number two, when it comes to contracts and you're asking a vendor to provide a service for the ministry or for any business, you want to lay out, as you mentioned, those material terms. Material terms is a legal term of art. And what that means is, what am I doing? How much am I getting paid? And what causes a default? Default is a breach. And the breach can go either on the vendor's side, so the musician or the service provider, or on the church's side, the corporation, the company. So you need the contract in order to say, okay, yeah, our payment, our compensation is going to include with the expectation that you come to practice on time, that you learn 5 to 6 songs a week, that you're going to play the songs, if you're a musician, to substantial similarity of the track.
I don't want to talk about that tonight.
You know, and those are the specifics and the details that churches don't typically put into contracts with musicians. But after I usually talk with them and explain to them, you know, you have a duty as a nonprofit to have tight books. And I think we'll get into that, but for sure, lay it out in detail. The church should know what their expectations are. And also the musician should be able to say, yep, I can meet those expectations for the compensation that we've negotiated.
Let me ask you this. Is the church supposed to provide the contract? Or can the singer or the musician say, this is my contract? Who should provide the contract?
That's a great question. The diligent service provider would provide a contract. And I'll give you an example.
Now,
No
let me
one,
say this. Let me say
Mhm.
this, T. You are an attorney. You're a lawyer. Okay.
Correct.
Talk to us like we five. Don't be giving me these big old words. don't give us them big old words.
No,
I give
no
you
SAT
5-letter words. Now go make it plain for us. We are not attorneys and lawyers.
Okay. A good business person would provide their own contract. And I'll give you an example. Your car breaks down, you go to the car shop, you say, listen, something's wrong with my vehicle. They're going to say, okay, we're going to find out what's wrong. We're going to put it on the invoice. You sign and you pay. That's a contract.
Mm-hmm.
That person, that car repair shop is a service provider. They give their clients the contract. So substitute mechanic shop for musician, sound and light tech, praise team leader, whoever the service provider is. A good business person that's going to provide service, you're going to bring your own contract to the table. Now, the flip side of that, the church should also already have a standard agreement, a standard independent contractors agreement. Why should the church have that? I'm glad you asked. The church should have that because the church should be operating as a prudent, diligent organization in compliance with the 501c3 exemption. And there's no way I can make that any more plain than what I just said.
Plain,
Marquise.
right?
You gotta follow me with this.
Gotta follow that. Okay, come on.
Those church leaders should know these terms.
Okay.
If you plan to keep your 501c3 status and not fall out of compliance, you have to keep very detailed and accurate business records. Business records aren't just financials. Business records are contracts for vendors. Business records are purchases for the church.
So
you're going to say something.
Are basically independent contractors, right? That's the question.
Musicians are independent contractors unless the church hires them on as a W-2 employees, which we see in certain larger ministries. You know, when I was out in New Jersey, I was affiliated with a ministry, and I believe their musicians were W-2 employees, but that was their full time. You know, everything that they did was dedicated to the church and to traveling with the pastor and performing those services.
Okay. Cousins, did that answer your questions about contracts? That's the first step. Contract. Okay, let me go here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to stay with contracts for a little bit longer. If they don't know how to, let's say they don't have anywhere to get a contract from, and they have musicians or they have singers that need contracts, what do they do? Who do they go to get the contract done? Can they just do it? Can it be a basic contract that just states everything? Or what are certain terms or certain phrases or words that have to be in the contract if they write it out themselves?
I would have to give a whole tutorial of first-year law school classes on how to draft a proper contract.
Okay.
The short answer is if you want to do it the right way, contact an attorney. Preferably contact us. We have these contracts. We do these contracts every day, but most people are going to go on Google or they're going to go on LegalZoom and pull a document. It's not going to work. And it's not going to work because you're going to have a cookie cutter agreement that may not necessarily fit your needs. 9 times out of 10, if you go on Google and just pull up an agreement, you're likely pulling up an agreement that may have been drafted in a state separate from yours or in a different federal jurisdiction. So therefore, the law that is the clauses that contains the law in those agreements may not be applicable to your particular state and surely not applicable to the service that you're trying to provide. So the best answer is hire an attorney, let the attorney draft the contract. If you want it done specifically correct to ministries and musicians and service providers for the church, our firm has a full division of attorneys that only focuses on ministry and clergy matters.
someone in the comments said, and I'm going to say this because I've heard you express this over and over and over.
Yep,
They
I think I
said
saw it.
never use LegalZoom. Why shouldn't the people of God use LegalZoom?
You know, I'm not saying this because I'm a lawyer and because they're in competition with me. Let me give that disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm not giving this answer for that. If you ever go on LegalZoom's website, and anybody feel free to do this at this very moment, you go on LegalZoom's website, you are going to see a disclaimer that says, "We are not attorneys." That's your answer. If
Elder
you feel
Bradfield.
comfortable having legal documents and receiving legal advice from an entity that clearly states we aren't lawyers, which means I can't legally give you legal advice, which is why you have to do it yourself anyways, then, by all means, go for it. It's going to be wrong. You're going to come to us one way or another because, and I tell people all the time, you can hire us up front. It's going to cost a fee. It's going to be done right. It's going to be double if I have to fix a mess.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Okay, so let me go here. Do you encourage churches to use NDAs?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Why? Go. Why should we have NDAs in our churches? Cousins, are y'all listening? Y'all better get out a pen and a paper or iPad or something. Why should we have NDAs in our church?
I'm speaking purely to leaders in ministry at this moment.
Okay.
As a business owner, because again, the church is a corporation.
Okay.
There's details about the organization that you just don't want to be public knowledge. Now, for nonprofits specifically, there are certain transparencies that they have to have. For example, you have to report budgets, which is why churches have your annual members meetings. That's a corporate thing. That's not a church thing. That's a legal business thing. You have to do it. But there are certain parameters where the church doesn't have to disclose to its members, but does to its inner board, its board of directors or trustees. You don't want those trustees to use pertinent information to benefit themselves in a personal capacity. That's one of those areas where I think ministry leaders may miss. And I know most people think, NDAs are for scandals. Yeah, it's for that too. If something bad happens, you want to have NDAs for your inner circle, because there are things that you learn in ministry that is, I would say, sensitive information about parishioners and congregants that you don't want your staff to go and start talking and gossiping about. An NDA is a great way to keep that confidentiality that the clergy has. And so I do think NDAs are very appropriate for ministries for a number of those reasons I've mentioned, but then for a number of others as well.
So, like contracts, you should see an attorney to do an NDA if you provide an NDA if you want an NDA for your church or whatever.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because, and also from a legal perspective, NDAs have to meet certain parameters, legal parameters. You can't make them forever. For example, you can't sign an NDA and then say, okay, I can never talk about this ever in life. Not based off of the NDA. Now,
Okay.
There are other documents in place, settlements and release, non-disparagement agreements, a plethora of different documents that you can use to have more of a long perpetuitous type of, a long-term effect.
I was just going to go with it like, okay. Talk to us like we're 5. Okay.
You got it.
So now let's get into this. I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm whatever. And I get hired at the church and we do things the proper way. I have a contract and all of that. And I've been working with this church for a year, and tax time comes. And I go to H&R Block and they tell me, since I didn't work a quote unquote 9 to 5, that I can't get any money.
Mm-hmm.
What should I have done as a singer or as a musician working with that church?
So the mistake happened when you signed the contract in your personal capacity. That's where the mistake happened. And that's the whole purpose of this live, is for me to give the game to these artists, these musicians and singers.
Okay. Come on.
You should have your own business as a service provider in the service you're either singing, playing music, sound, light, or whatever. You should have your own business, and that business should be contracted with the church, not you in your personal capacity. Why do I say that? I'm going to tell you.
So hold on. Let me make sure. So basically, when you say we should have our own business, you're basically saying we should have like an LLC.
So it could be a LLC, it could be a corporation, it could be a partnership, it could be whatever entity structure that you sit down with your attorney and discuss is best for your specific needs. I know the LLC is super popular now, but the LLC isn't always the best vehicle to create a business entity. We don't know your details of your lifestyle, of the makeup of your company until you sit down and talk with us. We discuss it, and then I can say, oh yeah, an LLC is going to be appropriate. Or I might say, no, I think your tax implications lean more towards an S corporation. S corporations tend to be taxed a little more favorably than LLCs. So I don't want to say start an LLC. So, and I saw somebody in the comments say a sole proprietorship. I want to touch on that real quick. A sole proprietorship is not a business structure. A sole proprietorship is what any individual is when they act in their personal capacity, although they're providing business services. You're not actually a company. So to be a company, you have to file articles of organizations if it's an LLC, or articles of incorporation if you're a corporation. That's what gives you that business protection, which we'll touch on that later. But yes, sit with your attorney. We'll have the conversation. We'll ask you questions. We'll have you fill out our questionnaire that gives us the information that we need to then make the recommendation of LLC, corporation, C Corp, S Corp, B Corp, nonprofit, whatever the case may be.
Okay. So just to make it clear, if you are getting paid for singing and playing, basically that check should never, ever be written out to you.
Never.
It should be written out to your corporation, your LLC, one of those things.
Correct. It should go direct. It should be, the church should pay your business. And we're going to tell you why now.
Okay.
When the church writes a check for vendor services to your business, they get a business deduction. So now the church says, or now the accountant for the church says, okay, we brought in X amount of dollars in tithes and offering, or whatever the income comes from the church. We now have to show allocations for where these dollars are going. What a lot of people don't know about nonprofits and ministries are, in certain states, the law requires that the nonprofit may have to spend down a substantial amount of its income for that year, because nonprofits, the purpose of them are to provide some type of charitable benefit to the society. For churches, the charitable benefit is we give you God, we give you salvation, we introduce you to the Lord and Savior, right? But they also sometimes may help out parishioners that are struggling with rent or may have other bills. All of those have to be allocated. All of those dollars have to be accounted for. So when the church pays the musician, that allocation has to be reflected. Now, I'll say probably 7 times out of 10, the church pays the musician as a contractor, a 1099, not a W-2, which is a traditional employee. So they don't withhold any taxes. There aren't no workers' compensation, no payroll tax, no other benefits, right? So they pay dollar for dollar to the musician.
Up to
That
you.
musician then has a legal duty to report that income because it's already being reported by the church. And here's where I've helped a lot of a lot of musicians avoid going to prison for tax evasion, is because the church has to report to the IRS the money that they paid out. Your name is given to the IRS. We paid this person $20,000, $50,000 this year. If you don't report $20,000 or $50,000 on your income statement, on your personal taxes, that's called tax fraud. That's called tax evasion. You go to prison for that. And that has happened. Luckily, I've been able to help some people get business structures in place in enough time to say, okay, I'm going to have the church pay my business. So now the business absorbs that dollar for dollar payment. The business then hires you, the owner, as its employee, right? So you are now the owner and employee of your business. From there, you would put yourself on a W-2. You would pay your payroll taxes. Taxes will be taken out. You no longer have this problem where you may be avoiding taxes from the IRS. And it gets better. And we're going to get there in a second.
Okay. Y'all, cousins, I hope y'all getting all this free knowledge. I'm learning. I am really, and I'm excited because I can't wait to help other people. I wanted to scroll back up to a question that said, so if you are a smaller business or an individual and a lawyer is not in your budget, what can you do or what do you do?
Well, I think that I
So,
will
Isaiah.
say, at least I'll speak from our firm. We understand our market. We understand our demographic of clientele. We try to make it as affordable as possible. I would say reach out to us. Let's figure something out. Because ultimately our goal is to help individuals that we service. So I think that's not really going to be an issue. And afford an attorney to have the services completed like you need. I can't hear you. Good. Uh-oh.
Something I can't hear
Perfect. Got you.
Okay, so people do not call me until I FaceTime. And how about this? It was my musician who needs to be watching this. Anyway.
Go ahead and put your phone on Do Not Disturb and you'll be good.
But that, you know what? When I do that on my live, my live won't work. Other people, maybe it's just my phone needs to be updated. Okay, so I want to get to this. Someone said, can you speak on the 8832 form?
That sounds like a tax form, and I'm not an accountant, so no, I cannot speak on that specific form. I stay in my lane. I'm a lawyer. I do lawyer things. I speak lawyer. I do not speak accounting.
There you go. There you
happy
go.
to make a referral to somebody. So reach out to us, and we're happy to make a connection with the CPA that can answer that question.
There you have it. And also, cousins, before we move on with the live, if you all have any questions, please just write them on here. I would tell you all that you could join us on the live, but then y'all be like, I'm shy. I don't want to ask in front of people. So just type it out, and we'll answer your question. Okay, so we have the LLC, we have a corporation, and we go to H&R Block to get our taxes done. We got our contract, got that out the way. We got our contract, all that. So it's March. We got our W-2s. How can we get more money?
Okay, so let's recap that.
Let's recap. Okay, come on.
We've got your business set up, whether that's an LLC or a corporation. Mm-hmm. So we're going to use me, for example, because everything that I'm telling you, I did this when I was a musician full time, before I became an attorney, and even when I was in law school. And then after I became a lawyer, I helped others do this. So first, you set up your business, the LLC, the corporation. We're going to do that for you. Then we're going to draft the contract or negotiate the contract between you and the church. The church is going to be contracted with your business. So now church pays your business. Third, you're going to become an employee of your business. We're going to draft all the governing documents that you need. Some people have this misconception that, oh, I can file an LLC with the state for $50 and that's it. The $50 fee is just a filing fee. That does not establish the full entity. All that does at best is register the name of the business that you're asking for and says that nobody else can use that name. And it says, we're going to allocate a business number to you. That is not it. There are 6 other steps that a lot of people are missing because they're piecemealing businesses together, and it will bite you, but we'll get to that. Get the church pays the business because we have the contract between the two.
Okay.
The business owner becomes an employee of the business. Then you have your business deductions and expenses. This is what I talked about in that post with my buddy Abe, and shout out to Abe out of Detroit, talented musician. When you practice, where you practice, the purchased equipment, if you're a keyboard player, motifs run for $5,000. Okay, so you buy that $5,000 keyboard. If you buy that out of your personal, that's just $5,000 loss. You buy that from your business, that's a $5,000 business deduction. Okay, so now that decreases your taxable liability come March and April. But wait, there's more.
Okay.
The equipment you buy, tax deductible. You probably do 90% of your practicing and your rehearsing on your craft as a singer, as a musician, as a sound and light tech. You're probably doing that at your house. You probably have a room in your house where you dedicated, this is my studio, this is my sanctuary. That room now is your home office. So that now means your mortgage or your rent, a portion of that can be wrote off as a home office business expense. So what I recommend to my clients, when it's time to start talking with your accountant, you tell that accountant, okay, whatever the biggest room in your house is, typically somebody's living room, or, you know, if you're very blessed, you might have 2 or 3 floor house. So let's dedicate your whole 3rd floor to your music area. If you have simple numbers, let's say your mortgage is $1,000, and the 2nd floor of your house or your 2-story house is allocated just towards your business, your practice space. So now $500 of your mortgage is a business deduction, or could be a business deduction. That's how you save money. That's how you create business credit. That's how you're starting to create generational wealth, because you're using the tools that you have access to change your situation by hiring the professionals that have this knowledge that can implement it for you, and you get the benefit of it come tax time. But even before tax time, when you're making these purchases, these are business expenses that you get to now write off as a business loss.
I'm sitting here thinking about all of this. I'm sitting here thinking about this because I know a lot of musicians, singers, feels like when it's tax time and tax season, that they're never going to get anything. But clearly they can if they do things and they handle things the right way. Okay?
Yeah. Let's we'll give a quick scenario. Let's say that the musician, we're talking about a musician and they're married. Let's say their spouse has a regular 9 to 5. Regular 9 to 5, that individual, their taxes are already being taken out by their employer.
Okay.
If this musician does our method, follows our program, creates our business, we set it up properly, we create them as an employee of the business. They now are able to record these business deductions. and let's sweeten the pot. Let's say they have a child
Okay.
too.
Okay.
So you get to write off half your mortgage. You drive your car to and from gigs, to and from practice. And so essentially every time you buy gas, you're buying gas for a business purpose because you got to get to rehearsal. You got to get to church. So now
Right.
gas is a deduction. You bought a brand new car. Well, now that car is a deduction. If you throw a kid in that mix, you're already going to get a refund because you have the child. But you have now also decreased your taxable income. You're pretty much going to show a loss, or you may show a loss from the business side. So that's almost like if you got one kid, you may get a refund that reflects two.
So I need to go have some children. Okay.
I'm not saying you need to have some children,
So
but what I am
need
saying
to have
is,
kids. Okay.
if you're not going to have kids, set your business up properly, and you'll still be able to reduce that taxable income. And when you overpay in taxes, then you get refunds. This is the game that others have implemented for years. I'm trying to give it to our people.
Give it to us, please. You know, a lot of times it's not that we want to do things the wrong way. It's just simple. We don't know what to do.
We don't know. Right?
We don't know what to do. Even with businesses, even with LLC, even with EIN, we don't know. We don't have a class in school to teach us this, you know? Right. So we don't know. So that's why I'm so glad that you are on here and a part of this to be able to help us get this information to people. When we know better, we do better. Now, if you're on this line and you don't go make changes, then that's on you, because here it is. This is free knowledge. So before we move on, I want to throw a few more things out here and just tell who T is. T is a saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled attorney. He is the attorney to a lot of our favorite people, a lot of people that you see in the industry. He handles their business. Okay? T has availed himself to be a part of my lives, to just help musicians and help businesses and help people with the knowledge that we don't know. So now we don't have an excuse, you know? So I want to say for you all, screenshot this. You see the website, SAG Law PC. You see his Instagram name, LawyerT.Smith. Please screenshot it. Follow him on Instagram. Go to his website, okay? There, he'll give you a consultation. You're going to have to pay, but that consultation fee will be taken off of whatever service that you need done. And I really, cousins, I really want you to do it. You need this. A lot of times we'll say, well, you know, it's a fee and da-da-da-da. Well, we don't complain about the shoes that we go buy. If Jordan came out with shoes tomorrow, we would save up the money to get those Jordans. This is something that's going to benefit us and help us in the long run, and also help us to have more money, okay? And establish more wealth, okay? To make sure that we're covered and we're not going to prison, all right?
Right.
So please, cousins, please screenshot this and get the website. Follow him, LawyerT.Smith on Instagram and SAG Law PC on Instagram. Okay, I just want to plug that. I've been playing for over 25 years as a church musician, and I never knew about this. Shaking my head. Wow. Where would you find out at? A lot of people don't know.
Yeah. 25 years. I can guarantee whoever that person is, and lawyers do not guarantee. It's a cardinal sin for an attorney to guarantee. I can guarantee you have missed out on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on deductions because of this system not being in place. I can guarantee that. 25 years. Wow. 25 years of service. And he's probably, or this individual has probably spent, I mean, when I started playing, my dad, when I was a little boy, my dad spent at least $20,000 on music, on instruments. At least $20,000. When I became an adult and started to buy my own stuff, I probably spent $10,000 to $15,000 on instruments and equipment. All of that was able to be wrote off as a business expense.
Wow. So I have a question. Mm-hmm. This person will remain nameless. They just sent it to me. But it's a good question, Lawyer T.
Sure.
How is it possible to get out of a contract with a label? If so, how?
That is a complicated question that's going to be super difficult to answer without knowing the ins and outs of the contract. What I can say is I started my career in complex litigation in New York and New Jersey. I've gotten a lot of contracts terminated. I've gotten a lot of people out of bad situations. Feel free to reach out to me. We can have a conversation. I'm happy to look at the ins and outs of this situation and see if there's some services I can provide you to help you get out of this situation.
All right, they're listening. So
awesome.
You just hit them up if you have a contract that you need to get out. So okay, with that being said, with the contracts that we discussed earlier, and if they have a contract with a particular church, are those complicated to get out of as well if they didn't want to finish there?
This is the thing, and this is why it's so important to come to us or to any other attorney. We're going to draft the agreement with you in favor. So we're going to draft termination provisions. There may be things what we call disqualifying events. For example, if the church is late on paying you, or if the musician is late on showing up for service, or no call, no show. That gives the contract parties to terminate the agreement. Those are types of protections that we can draft in.
Hold up. Talk to me like I'm 5. If I have a contract with you as my musician team, and you were late for the last 3 Sundays, and even though we have let's say that for the month of May, you were late 3 of those Sundays,
then that's called a breach.
And our contract is over in 2025 of August. Because you breached that contract and you were late 3 times, I can fire you. Doesn't matter what the contract says.
Yeah, that's called a breach of contract.
There we go.
I mean, you could fire that individual. I hate to rain on some people's parade, but the truth is also you can be sued for a breach of contract. You know, when you make a promise, a contractual promise, and let's take a step back. If you make a verbal promise, and some of these verbal promises are maybe recorded via text message or email, or just recorded audibly, that's a contract. It could be interpreted as an enforceable contract. It's not your best type of contract, which is why we say write it out, so there's no confusion. But yeah, if you show up late, that's a breach of contract. If I now have to go and hire a musician that charges me $100 more than you did for the duration of your period. So let's say I hire this musician for $500 a Sunday for a year, and 6 months into the year, they breach the contract. I now have to go hire a new musician for $1,000 for another contract duration. Well, that remaining 6 months from that previous agreement that cost has been increased by $500. That musician owes that church $5, $10, $15, $20, $25, $30, $3,000. You know, that's a $3,000 breach of contract. But it's a $0 breach of contract if you don't have a contract in place. And that's where a lot of people find themselves. They don't have the paperwork in place. Musician doesn't show up, or is late, or whoever doesn't show up, and now you're in a bind and you have no recourse.
Oh my gosh. I'm pausing because I'm thinking about everything that I need to redo and everything.
Well, you should be good because we've done a lot of your stuff.
There are not enough of us watching this. Hope you save and post this. Definitely will, Yolanda.
Spread the word.
Oh my gosh. Tia. Wow. Like literally I have to go back to the drawing board. Wow. Cousins, do you have any questions? Do you have any other questions that you would like to ask tonight? One thing that I don't like to do is when this is something that he does for a living, I don't want him to answer everything because we need to use his services. So, and we went over a lot tonight. So cousins, do you have any other questions that we can choose what will Okay, what's freezing up? There we go. And then we can go from there. And thank you all so much for tuning in as you are coming in. A lot of you guys, I tried to call your name and I couldn't call your name. Cousins, I love y'all so much. How can we follow him? His name is Lawyer T. Smith. Lawyer T. Smith on Instagram. SAG Law PC on Instagram. You can follow him on Facebook at SAG Law PC on Facebook. Lawyer T as in TE Smith. Lawyer TE Smith on Instagram. You're more than welcome.
Here, let me type it in. I'll type it in the comments.
You gotta type it in. And then also the website is pinned. If you want a consultation, you could get on his page or go to his website. It is pinned. So just screenshot this live. You can screenshot it and go to it, save it, go to it. That is his Instagram name that he just typed in.
And this is the firm as well.
Cousins.
Now, while we're waiting on the question, this is I really want to make sure we fit this in because this is probably the third most important piece to this whole structure. Okay. And I'm going to do a quick recap. We set up your business. Your business contracts with the church. We draft the contract. We negotiate the contract if need be. The church now pays the business directly. You as the business owner will become a employee of your business. Your business is going to pay your employee taxes. So you don't have to worry about that from a personal perspective. But even better, the business is going to get business deductions when it purchases equipment, when it has rental space for office space, if it has to travel to and from different venues, whether that's air, hotel, all of these are business expenses. We really need to do a whole live on just possible business deductions. That's a great way to save money and to create money. Okay. After we have the business set up, you're an employee, you have your expenses. Here's the piece that is very important that we have to get.
Okay.
You are developing business credit when you put your phone in your business name, internet.
Open up a bank account in your business name.
You have your bank account in your business name. But again, your office is at your home. So now you have to get internet for your office, which also happens to benefit your home. That all creates a business credit. This is going to get reported to the credit bureaus. After a while, you're going to develop enough credit where you can start to buy property. This is what I did myself. So this works. Look, you see around you, this works. You're going to create business credit. You're going to be able to buy a property with your business in your business name. And when your business spends money, that's tax deductions. So now you're able to buy property that you may live in or income properties that you may rent out. That's money that you get to write off when you spend it on the property, but then that's also income that you're going to make from other ventures. You get to purchase cars. Okay.
Hold on.
This is the good stuff.
Me. Come on. I got to talk to us like we're 5. Come on. So a person's credit could be jacked up personally.
Correct.
They go start their business, get a corporation like we discussed earlier, LLC. So then they go open up a bank account under that name, that for that business, that LLC or that corporation. Then they go get internet in that company's name, their business name, get a phone line in their business
whatever,
name.
Any bill that's going to report.
And that credit is completely separate than their personal credit.
That is correct.
So then they start getting the American Express offers in the mail.
For the business.
For the business. Then they start getting to where they can purchase a car for the business.
Get a business credit card. When you're at the level where financial institutions are offering you business credit card, that means your business credit is at a place where you're ready to make some major purchases. Your personal credit could be terrible.
You talking good, preacher.
let's be honest. You know, I'm gonna
Bless you too.
break the rule and tell. I know a lot of rich people.
Okay.
Most rich people don't have good credit personally,
Mm,
and they
okay.
don't have good credit personally because they have to use their personal assets to make certain large purchases, and they have to personally guarantee it to get started. Right? A lot of us have done
Hmm.
that. If you bought a house, you got a mortgage, you had to say put your name on it. So your credit is affected. Rich people have multiple businesses, though. These multiple businesses have great credit because they understand the system. They understand how finances intertwine with business and business intertwines with tax. They know the system. You use this system, your personal credit is going to be bad, your business credit is going to be good. Banks and financial institutions will give a business a line of credit much greater than an individual in their personal capacity. I feel safe to say, very little individuals have a personal line of credit that exceeds corporate or LLC lines of credit. This is the difference. And this all starts at you create your business, the church is paying your business, or if you play at a nightclub, the nightclub is paying your business, or if you're hired by a event planner, this event planner plays your business shows income coming in. That income then is profits and revenues. So now the business looks viable. The business looks as if it has a consistent cash flow. All of the things I'm speaking have nothing to do with law right now. This is finance. If you can show consistent cash flow, income, low liabilities, you qualify for substantial financing. That's banking.
So the first thing that they should do, I don't like to say they, first thing that we all included, we should do after we get the corporation or the LLC is to do what? What's the first thing that we should do after we get that?
After we set up your business, you give us the details of your personal life, your personal finances, the corporate structure. Some individuals may want their children to be co-owners. This is a great way to build generational wealth, a great way to start your kid who may be 5 or 6 years old as a business owner that shows viability. Viability meaning that shows money coming in the door to this business. You can set your kid up for life by the time they're 18. Okay, but we'll get there. So you set up your business, we set it up, we do the governing documents. That's super important. That's what you don't get from LegalZoom. That's what you don't get from Google.
Okay.
We draft the governing documents specific to the business owner and the business owner's situation. Once those governing documents are in place, we get your EIN, your employee identification number. Then you open up a business banking account. From there, we track our deductions, paying yourself as an employee of your business, equipment. I mean, drummers go through sticks daily. Each time you buy a pair of sticks, business deduction. For saxophone players, every time you buy a reed, business deduction. If you have to do a car tune-up, business deduction. Why? Because you need your car to get to the next gig. Business deductions. You need paper towel in your office. You also need paper towel in your house. Guess what? Business deduction. Now you've started to expense your entire life through your business. This is the difference. From there, you'll start to put bills in the name of the business. Those bills will start to report to the credit bureaus. The credit bureaus will, of course, report to the financial institutions. Those financial institutions will then start to offer you business credit cards or business lines of credit. And when that happens, you're in a very good place. Something we didn't talk about that I want to mention real quick. There is I'll call it a credit bureau, but it's really not a bureau. It's called DUNS. A lot of people have been hearing about, you need your DUNS number. You do need a DUNS number. Our office does help and assist with getting your DUNS number assigned. to our clients that work with us. We assist them with getting that DUNS number. However, once you start to create business credit, DUNS you're gonna come up on the DUNS radar anyways.
What's up, Kevin?
So,
What's up, Larry?
it's gonna eventually be assigned a DUNS number.
DUNS number. Spell that so we can make sure we know.
So it's an acronym. I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's DUNN. Done.
Okay, done.
Yep, done. DUNN. If you Google done, DUNN, yeah, Duns and Bradstreet. That's exactly right. I see somebody put that in the comments. That's exactly it.
Wow, ha 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 ha. This has been phenomenal. I don't want to hold your time because I know you got stuff to do. We got Tasha Cobbs recording tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, I got to catch
there
up
in
with,
Chicago
with my boy D Phelps. He's the creative director for Tasha Cobbs, so I'm gonna go check out with them
tonight. You'll be there
tonight. Well, I'm gonna go to the rehearsal tonight.
Oh well, then we gotta let you off this.
Oh well, listen,
rehearsal started already.
Time to educate.
Rehearsal started already.
Yeah, rehearsal started at 7, but fashionably late.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, because I know this isn't church, but this info is good. I feel like running. Cousins, like I said, please, please, please. First of all of you that came through tonight, thank you so much for coming on. I know you guys have lives, so you probably could maybe not been able to stay on the whole time, but you came in, and I appreciate you for dropping in. Like I've said before, I always pray that God gives me a platform that I'm able to give to others and to help and to, answer questions that we don't know, or to help give knowledge and just, make our lives better and our business and our ministries easier. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Some of y'all that were on here are so amazing, so gifted. You have amazing projects out, amazing music, and graphic designers on here, and creative directors and musicians. All of you wonderful people, thank you for being tuned in tonight. TJ is a phenomenal creative as well, and just everybody. I don't want to get to calling names, because if I start with names, I'm not going to be able to call everybody else. And, I don't want anybody to be upset with me. This was enlightening and definitely dope info. So, yes, like I said, cousins, screenshot this so you can see the website. Go get your consultation. Whatever the consultation fee is, he's going to take it off of whatever service that you need. Okay? So follow him, LawyerT.Smith on Instagram and on Facebook, SAG Law PC as well. I love you all. T, any last words?
No, I just want to say, man, thank you so much for the opportunity to share this information. Our firm's motto is we're trying to change the dynamics and the dichotomy of our culture, our people. We want us to get to that next level. And I have the knowledge. My attorneys have the knowledge. Our consultants have the knowledge. We want to give it to you. It's not going to be free. It's just not. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not going to be free.
Y'all not free.
It will be worth it.
It
will be worth it.
Definitely. So, cousins, what's up, Mom? My mom's on here. You're late.
Hey, Mom.
If you need a lawyer, if your church needs a lawyer, your business needs a lawyer, your ministry needs a lawyer, whatever you need, T is the one for you. He can get it done. If you know anybody else that needs a lawyer, this Lawyer T. Smith. All right. Love you all. Have a wonderful evening. I might be back on a little later, y'all. I don't know. But good night.
Thanks, Marquise.